Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Zuleka Henderson, and I'm the founding director of the Center for Black Wellbeing at Gray Matters Medical Practice in New York City. Today, we're gonna talk about stress and anxiety. Let's get it. If you're human, then navigating stress and anxiety is something that you will absolutely experience. For most of us, it might sound like these people getting on my last nerve. It also may sound like I'm just, tired all the time. My energy is low. Sometimes it may sound like I just can't take it anymore. It may feel like a rapid heartbeat, palms sweaty. It may feel like nerves. It may feel like other questions like, what is happening? How am I supposed to survive this? Well, I ain't got it. Whatever it sounds like, the good news is that the same way that you experience stress, you can also access tools that are inside of you or in the resources around you to tell that stress where it can go and what it can do. So today, that's what we want to talk about. How do we deal with those moments in life when things really get to the point where they feel like, all right, enough. I need to slow down, or I need to figure out how to shift my energy. What do we do in those moments? We're looking up and seeing so many news reports on social media about things that are hard. What do we do when we're in our dorm rooms and there are phone calls from home? When the person across from us in the room is also sad and struggling? It's a lot to be a human these days. Even when you're not personally going through something, the world is going through a lot. And for many of us, these past few years have been nothing that we could have anticipated. And yet, we are still here. We are still here. That is a testimony of the fact that we are overcomers, that we can access the power within us to tell stress and anxiety, like I said, where they could go and what they can do. So today, that's what we will talk about. Sweet. So how do we do that? And how do we transform our experience of stress and anxiety? As a first step, I think it's important to just notice it, right? So sometimes we could just be so involved in our daily lives that we may not even know that stress has crept in, that we're anxious. So an important part of the noticing part is to kind of check in with yourself. How do you display stress? What do you end up doing? Maybe it looks like slowing down in terms of how much activities you're doing, how much you're engaging with other people. You notice yourself making fewer phone calls or taking fewer phone calls, not just because you need space, because we don't have to talk to people all the time. And some people need to be left on red. But if you notice that it's just different from what your personal norm is. If you're not clear about the signs of what it looks like, ask the people around you. I'm certain that we have stressed some other people out by our stress. So ask others, someone that you trust, someone who knows you well. What do they think are the 3 markers or indicators of when you're stressed? What does that look like? Something that may help is if you just took a few moments and think about when were the last 3 times that I was stressed out or anxious? What were the circumstances? How did I display? And then look for commonalities, common threads across those 3 experiences. Those may be important cues for you around what it looks like when you're experiencing stress and anxiety. And it may not just be symptoms that are important markers for you. You might know that certain times of the year, you kind of go into a slump, right? As students in school, the academic calendar lets us know when stress is coming on, right? So maybe it's finals time. Or maybe for you, it's like when there's a lot of events. You may not be a person who, just feels comfortable all the time when there's so much going on. So pay attention. Ask yourself, what are the cues? When does my body start to tell me that I'm a little bit stressed out and I should pay attention? The second step that I have for you is just to name it. Sometimes stress and anxiety wants us to just acknowledge that it's in the building. Not to do anything yet, but just to name it. And one way that I name it is just to settle myself and say, look, I'm feeling stressed at a level of 6 today. Then maybe I want to take it a step further. And I might want to offer a little bit of insight into why I'm feeling that way. I'm feeling stressed at a level of 6 because I got 10 emails right now in the inbox of people asking me for stuff that I ain't finished yet. I'm feeling stressed at a level of 6 because I'm tired. I'm looking forward to a break and it doesn't feel like there's one in sight. I'm feeling stressed at a level of 6 because I just scrolled through my news feed and dang, how much more? So just naming it. So notice it and then name it. Cool. So you've noticed it, you've named it. Then the next thing that I need you to do is to know or remember that you have options. You get to choose what happens next. So think to yourself, once I'm aware of the presence of stress and anxiety, what do I want to do? Or who do I want to be? And so sometimes that may sound like, do I feel like actually doing anything about it in this moment? Something important is to give yourself space to be like, nah, not today. I just needed to acknowledge it. Sometimes that's enough. Just make room to say, hey, stress is in the building. If you're in a space, however, where you're like, yeah, the stress is here, but it needs to shift. I want to move into a space where I feel less stressed, where the level of stress that I identified in the naming or noticing phase gets to shift, right? So I was feeling stressed at a level of 6, but I want to really reach a 3. I want to help take that stress or that anxiety down a little bit. And then I'm not sure is also an answer. I feel stressed. Stress is present, and I'm just not sure what to do. When you give yourself permission to declare in that way, to powerfully choose, what you feel like needs to come next, then that's where opportunity comes in. So if I'm clear, for example, in the first option that I'm aware of the stress, but today is not the day where I really feel the energy to do something about it, then you don't have to be under pressure to make a lot of moves. So again, notice it, name it, and then know you have options. That's when you get to move into the space of powerful choosing. Next, you get to identify your options and then take action. So this is an extension of the last step. Maybe you started identifying some options when you were remembering that you had options, right? So again, if you're in the space where you just want to be, you might ask yourself, well, what are the things that help me to just relax, just to establish a state of calm or just presence, even in the midst of a lot going on? That could be, I'm just gonna kind of lay here, I'm just gonna be, or I'm gonna acknowledge and I'm gonna go throughout my day. For others, if you're in the category of wanting to do things to shift, maybe you've identified a list of things that you know helps you to shift, helps you to de-escalate your stress or anxiety. For me, I watch nonsense reality television. I also listen to music. I watch people be creative on YouTube sometimes. I might do some things that'll help me shift a little bit of focus. It's not about ignoring the presence of the stress, but it's actually sending a message to the stress. I see you, I'm aware, but I am not allowing you to consume my existence in this moment. So I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna shift. So build your list of activities, right? In a moment where you maybe feeling good, or even in a moment of stress and anxiety, just building a list of what are things that you like to do that you get to be kind of free and be in the moment. So create your list of options. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with me. I'm Dr. Zuleka Henderson, the founding director of the Center for Black Wellbeing at Gray Matters Medical Practice. If you want to keep in touch, please follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is @black_wellbeing. @black_wellbeing. If you want to send us an email, you can email us at cbw@graymattersmd.com. If you want to check us out on the website, please follow the link below. I'm so grateful to be able to be in community and to talk about how we can continue to be well by knocking stress and anxiety out the box and taking charge of our health and healing. Take good care.
For more hotspots, visit us on unitehbcu.org.